So I came up with this title a while back, and I contemplated changing it because now it just sounds like you support fascism or something like that, and I don't want to look like that. But at the same time, fuck it. The original Captain Confederacy series comes to an end in this video, but let me tell you, it's confusing as hell. It's a bit convoluted, and I do feel that at some points things are just added to the comic in the story just to extend out the length of the issues. There's a lot of coincidental things that happen, but let's get into it because the ending to this series is still pretty interesting and there's a lot to talk about. First, a little review. If you don't know what happened in issues 1 through 4, go watch my first video on this because I'm going to review issues 5 through 8 in this video. First, we go through the dreams of our heroes, where we learned various things, but the most important part was that we learned that Kate does not dream, and instead, when she sleeps, she exists in other people's dreams. But as our heroes wake up, Jeremy gets a premonition that the team is about to get attacked, and then they get attacked. In this attack, we see some badass shit, but we also end up losing Sawyer, who is shot and killed in the fight. But the team keeps moving. Meanwhile, it's discovered that Roxy has developed the power to read minds, and it's so powerful that she can read the minds of people that aren't even in the same room as her. She goes with Dr. Vashok to the mall to test these powers, but through this testing, she starts to feel uncomfortable with the idea of her place with the government, something that Vashok predicts would happen, and she has men that were placed on standby to trank her. Now, last time we were left with the reveal that Dr. Picola, the other doctor that worked on the super soldier serum, ran off with the last doses of the serum for some reason that we don't know yet. And that's where things were left off. So let's get into the final 4 issues, because I feel like a lot happened in these last 4, but also nothing happened. You'll see soon. So issue 9 kicks off with us seeing what Roxy has been up to since we last saw her. Has she been resting, testing out her new powers, having another therapy session with Dr. Vashok to cope with her new mental issues? Nope. She's getting fucking tortured. Roxy, unconscious by the way, literally has things hooked up to her brain, and she's getting shocked every minute or so while Mac and Vashok stand over her and discuss whether or not she will be in a state of mind where she can be controlled at the presidential address. Turns out that's unlikely. So Mac goes to see the president with the worries that he is losing control over the project. Fact is, the serum in their blood keeps evolving them, and he feels that they'll soon be too powerful to stop. So he wants to end it all. Close the tabs, destroy the records, kill the super soldiers right now. And to be fair, they're probably already too powerful to stop. Like, Jeremy threw a goddamn motorcycle at a helicopter. The tranks that they used on Roxy were actually neutralized by her kidney and liver. So like, they're getting really powerful. So I mean, it's a pretty reasonable conclusion. It just may be a little too late. And the problem with getting the president's permission for this is that, well, one of the super soldiers is her niece. Obviously, she doesn't want to greenlight the assassination of her own niece. That'd be crazy. But after quoting the Binding of Isaac, like the Bible story, not the game, she for some reason is like, fuck it, let's do it. I would have taken more time to think about it. She thought for like 30 seconds before sacrificing her own blood, but whatever. And that's all Mac needed to hear. So he phones Dr. Vashok, who is ready at the helm, might I add, and tells her to take Roxy out. So Vashok takes some carbon tetrachloride, which is toxic to the liver, kidneys, and central nervous system, and dumps that shit into Roxy's IV. And that's where the issue ends. But before we move on, we gotta see what our heroes are up to. So the squad has joined up with one of Mr. X's colleagues, and they drive to meet some dude named Cassius ahead of the presidential address. Now this guy Cassius, he's like the stereotypical black guy with glasses that even has a little bit of compassion in his voice, except he never says the phrase, "my brother," because he's talking to a white man in the scene. The Confederacy is not one nation and was never conceived to be. It is a group of little nations full of the same strutting idiot pride as Europe's gaggle of Grustarks? What the hell is a Grustark? I hope I didn't just say a slur. Banded together for the fear of the dark. And so, its bright totems are desperately important. People would rather believe that the government is lying than that Captain Confederacy is a traitor. You, Mr. Gray, can stand up to the president herself and call her a fraud because you are a fair-haired white man, because you wear the flag above your heart, because you can crush metal with your bare hands. For these and 100 other reasons, they will believe you. They will tear the president's living heart from her breast if you so order them, Mr. Gray. That's not what I want. What do you want me to say? I understand that you are an actor, Mr. Gray, but I don't propose to put words in your mouth. You must say what you have to say. Again, I advise you, decide what you want. We can get you into the arena, but if you don't win the crowd over to your side with what you say there, no power on earth will get you out alive. Basically, Cassius is the guy that's going to get them into the presidential address so Jeremy can say what he needs to say to win over the people. And he kind of freaks out Jeremy, but I don't know, everything freaks out that guy. Later that night, Jeremy and Kate talk in bed, probably post-coitus, and Jeremy is worried. His visions have stopped, with the last one being of Roxy being shot down by a sniper. But they ignore their worries because they are too far ahead to back down now, especially when they are so close to their goal. Meanwhile, Mr. X sits right outside of their motel room door, claiming that no one will disturb them tonight. I guess he doesn't have his own room. Also, where's Kitsune? We also see Cassius talking to a bunch of his men as they discuss their plans to kill Kate and Jeremy at the presidential address. You heard that right. They plan to get them into the presidential address and onto the stage, and then they plan to kill them. Why? I don't know. Shock value. We really only get one statement from Cassius about this, and it goes like this. We know that Macaulay wants them dead quietly. We are merely forcing him to kill them publicly, and the Confederate people would rather rise up and throw down the tyrants of Richmond than allow Captain Confederacy to die in vain. The television camera should be on Gray the whole time. He must die before he leaves the covered area. And don't forget the woman. Unlike Portia, she's more than a woman's might. Basically, what I think Cassius wants is for the government to be uprooted by the people. A coup of some sort. Because maybe he doesn't believe that Jeremy and Kate's way of doing things is going to solve anything. And he thinks that if they publicly kill Jeremy and Kate, then the crowd will think that it was the CBI's doing. And they'll have some sort of uproar. Because it is a fact in this universe that the people do trust Captain Confederacy more than the government. That's how brainwashed these people are. But it's got a few holes. Namely the fact that they got to figure out how to actually kill them. Because if you remember, Kate survived an ambush in the first issue where she was lit up by multiple people with guns. They're just not regular. But problems aside, we get more setup for the big day, the presidential address. But you guys remember Dr. Bricola? Issue 10 is all about that guy. Well, really, it's about some random motherfucker that was ordered to kill him. This is probably my least favorite issue because we just follow this random ass assassin that has no more than one other page outside of this issue in any type of relevance to this story. And just like Marvel, they change up the style of the comic for this singular issue. So now, oh my God, yo, I can't. I'm moving out this week. I can't wait to not hear someone stomping on my head. So now I'm reading paragraphs on paragraphs, learning about the backstory about some guy that I don't care about at all because the only significance of him existing in this universe is that he kills Dr. Bricola. But I guess it's worth describing. Basically, when he was in high school, his dad worked for some petroleum plant that was dumping toxic liquids into the water supply, which caused some upcoming births to be stillborn or deformed. And his dad, who was furious, marched into the governor's office with reporters and evidence of their wrongdoing. And a few days later, our assassin never saw his dad again. What does this have to do with anything? I don't know, man. I've kind of lost the plot at this point. So what we learn in this issue that actually matters is that Dr. Bricola was trying to escape with the booster shots because he was trying to bring it to the north. Because apparently the United States was also trying to make their own super soldier. Probably had some scrawny kid named Steve Rogers just waiting around begging to be a test subject. But Bricola got jumped by some bikers on his way up north. And our lovely assassin saves him. The assassin takes him to some local diner where we learn that Bricola actually used some of the serum on himself. But for some reason he couldn't even try to defend himself against some bikers. Now through all of this, the assassin did not tell Bricola what he was there to do. And Bricola, for some reason, assumed that this guy was just some God-given chauffeur to the fucking north. This guy's a scientist, right? But he trusts some random motherfucker that appears out of nowhere in the night. And he's like, let's ride. So when Bricola gets up to use the bathroom, the assassin follows him and he attacks him. But now Bricola's serum is working and he actually beats the assassin's ass and takes his car keys. But once again, smartest guy in the world. You think some guy that wants to kill you wouldn't have a plan for you to take his keys? So Bricola turns the keys in the car and some type of knockout gas comes out and Well, it knocks him out. So after getting bitch smacked around in the bathroom a little bit, our assassin boy cleans his face, recovers a little bit, walks outside, and drives off with Ricola knocked out in the passenger seat. He takes him out to the cornfields, and he finishes the job. So yeah, Bricola's dead, just like that. So the cliffhanger from the last issue was for nothing. Real great storytelling. So issue 11 is the big day, the one that we've been talking about since issue 4. President Lee's address to the people. This is the moment where Jeremy stands in front of everyone and changes their ways for the better. Now, for your information, I haven't really explained what's so bad about the Confederacy in this series. I mean, what was so bad about the Confederacy, right guys? But that's because they've only really explained the economy of the country in little tidbits across the series. So honestly, I haven't even really understood it throughout. It seems that the Confederacy ended slavery on their own at some point because it was no longer economically efficient. And now they just segregate the fuck out of people and use propaganda to keep people stupid. Kind of like real life. So they want to change that. At least I think. All they say is that they want to change the Confederacy. So, you know what? Let's just continue for now. Jeremy, with his ability to see into the future, sees a few different visions about what's about to happen. One of Roxy being shot on stage, and in the other, he gets shot on stage. But as time gets closer to the moment, once again, his visions go dark. A bit worrying, right? Either way, we see multiple people getting ready for the event. Cassius, who if you remember, wants Roxy, Jeremy, and Kate all dead, speaks to the two people that he is assigned to take them out. In the best of all possible worlds, you will saunter through the arena while interesting things occur, then leave without doing a thing. But if it seems that Mr. Gray or Miss Williams might escape or be captured alive, intervene. What about Macaulay? If we can get a shot at the superhero, we can get a shot at him. You are an excellent soldier, and I value you. If you kill Project Hero's director, the CBI will be given vastly greater freedom of action than they are presently allowed. And what about the president? Bittrick, kill Eden. What you fail to see, Mr. Eden, is that President Lee is the principal check upon the CBI. Without her, they would be completely free to act, and we cannot allow that. Remember, gentlemen, tonight you were agents of the government, carrying out the government's instructions, only not in the way they wish them to be carried out. So... And, you know, I realized this while writing the script, but this fucker just sliced his militia in half. He only had 2 of them. He just killed one of them. You think one guy is good enough to take all 3 of them super soldiers down? 50 dudes with bazookas and a helicopter couldn't take them out. Like, you really think this one dude, what's his name, Bittrick? Like, he's not good. He's not good enough. I'm also not sure on the morals of this guy, because... I mean, you'd think he'd value the lives of non-superhumans, but he just fucking kills that guy for asking a question. Like, are they trying to paint him as a villain? Like a downright villain? Because it makes no sense what he just did. We also see that our assassin from the last comic makes his way to the party as well. He's strapped with a sniper and plants himself in the butt crack of the crowd. And lastly, we see the CBI. So there's a bit of a continuity issue here, I feel like. Or maybe I'm just dumb. But Vashok puts that toxin in Roxy's veins, and we see that Roxy is dreaming of herself walking through the fire, being guided by President Lee, Dr. Vashok, and Mac. But out of the flames comes Kate, who tells Roxy to hold out because it's never too late. Obviously, from what we've learned about Kate's powers, this has got to be the real Kate in her dream. But like, is Roxy sleeping at a place where Kate is within the vicinity of? Because I could have sworn that this whole thing with Dr. Vashok and Roxy being tortured was happening at CBI headquarters. So is Kate nearby? Like that, I don't get it. Is the presidential address happening at the CBI headquarters? Because that doesn't make sense either. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Roxy's healing factor is too good for the toxin to do any real damage. And she tells Dr. Vashok that she really just feels puffy, but it's clear that there is now distrust between the two, as Roxy knows that whatever they did to her while she was unconscious was not good. Mac also stores a gun packed with armor-piercing bullets and cyanide capsules and a speaker on stage. Apparently, 2 bullets from it will kill a super soldier. And guess what? As the president starts her address, Jeremy flies in on a Confederate glider and lands on stage. The CBI doesn't shoot, of course. That would be crazy in front of all these people. And Roxy doesn't stop him either. She actually encourages him, and he gives a speech. Hold on. Let me clear my throat. It is in the nature of societies that their people choose representatives to speak for them, but there is no single way by which those voices are chosen. Sometimes it is by the ballot, sometimes by the shout of the crowd, and sometimes by what is heard in the echo after the voice speaks out. I do not put on this mask to hide from you. You all know my name by now, but as part of what I want to say, government is about more than the power to act. It is about accountability for those actions. Too many things have been done in this government, then kept secret, hidden behind a flag, behind a mask. It is time for the masks to come off. Bravo. Bravo. Truly a speech of all time. Just to be clear, he was saying a lot and nothing at the same time, all right? But it seemed to affect Mac because he was speechless. And Cassius, who was watching along with everyone else, noticed that Jeremy probably wasn't going to get publicly executed, so he told his one shooter to kill him. Guess what? That did not work. Jeremy simply grabbed the flagpole next to him and became the second coming of Vlad the Impaler. Now, a lot happens next, but let me try to simplify it. Our assassin sees his target and takes her out. That's right. This guy has now spilled the blood of both the doctors that created the super soldier serum. Apparently, this was part of Mac's plan to end the project. Just because you kill the heroes doesn't mean that the doctors that made the serum can't just make more of those heroes. So, Vashok has to die as well. Now, Roxy and Jeremy scramble, and the van with the guys that Cassius ordered to try and kill Jeremy try to drive off, but a CBI cop shoots the person driving the van, causing the van to go off path and directly into a gate in the crowd. Now, people try moving out of the way, but one boy gets his sleeve stuck in the fence. So Jeremy races over and frees the boy and gets him out of the way, but he can't get himself safe in time, and the van crashes right into him. Roxy is the first to find him, claiming that she can't hear his thoughts. Kate shows up and, yeah, he might be dead. Mr. X pulls up in a car for them to get into, and they take off. Now, Mac has still not ordered anyone to shoot Jeremy or any other super soldier. Instead, he now takes the stage, despite all the chaos going on around him. First, I want to assure you all that the president is unharmed. Second, I must say that the Bureau has made a terrible error. Jeremy Gray, Captain Confederacy, is no traitor and no one's dupe. He is in fact a genuine hero. And may I further say that I have never been so proud to be a Confederate citizen than at this moment. And then he shoots himself. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe it is the guilt of his actions. You guys kind of did fuck up Roxy and kill Aaron. So either way, Mac is now dead and there is no longer a director of Project Hero. And that's how issue 11 ends. Jeremy might be dead. Mac is dead. Everything's in shambles. So let's finish this up before I say anything. Now, the final issue of Captain Confederacy is weird and honestly a bit extra. So Mr. X is driving the car away. Kitsune Lee is in the front seats. Where the hell were they during all this? I couldn't tell you. My favorite character in the series hasn't done shit since like issue 6. Roxy and Kate are holding on to Jeremy's dying body in the back seats, which, let me just say, man, like this guy could tank a crazy amount of bullets. So you're telling me a van is going to kill him? Like he lobbed a motorcycle with perfect precision at a helicopter, but a van is going to be what takes him down. The majority of this issue is delegated to visions that Jeremy is having about what happens after his death. He's seeing the future past his death, and they're all fucking grim. The one described to us in particular is one where Kate, Mr. X, and Kitsune Lee all leave the Confederacy while Roxy stays. But Kate, as she predicted in issue 4, started to have withdrawal effects as the serum wore it off, and died because of it. President Lee resigned from president and Roxy took over, but even though she continued taking the booster, the outcome was the same for her, but in a different way. Her powers kept on getting stronger, and she started to hear everything, everywhere. Like that stupid deleted scene from Batman v Superman where Superman couldn't save his mom because apparently he heard everything else in the area. But it just so happens when Lois is falling off of a building, he all of a sudden can hone in on her. I don't know. I don't think that guy loves his mom. Roxy was tortured by the noises that she heard every night. And one day she decided to do a somersault off of the roof of the White House. And she did not land on her feet. Mr. X and Kitsune Lee spent some time together, but split soon after, and Kitsune Lee was found dead after trying to infiltrate a Chinese military complex. Fuck this series, man. The White Ninja would not go out like that. I'm sorry. That's everything we've seen her through. She's got a stealth suit and she's just gonna be fucking found dead. Like, this is bullshit. Mr. X seemed to be the only one with a good ending, as he founded a new political alliance called the United North America, and he actually managed to live to become old. But all of these visions apparently ended with a war between Japan and Germany basically destroying the world. And Jeremy seemed content with this because apparently he had done his part in the grand scheme of things, and what more else could he do? But Kate and Roxy are very keen on him surviving, so Kate hijacks his dream and somehow lets Roxy through as well. And they talk with him, telling him not to give up and they have to find a way to save him. But we'll have to wait on how they figure that out, because we jump ahead probably like a week where Roxy calls her aunt, calling for a meeting between the two. So this meeting happens at a hotel. Roxy, Kate, Mr. X, Kitsune, and this guy walk in and wait for President Lee. When President Lee comes in, it's revealed that this guy is Jeremy, only without any of his super soldier powers. How? Well, let me just read it. We've undone it all. What do you mean? You knew about Roxy's mind reading. Something similar was happening to each of us. Telepathy for Roxy, precognition for Jeremy, some kind of dream manipulation for me. We worked together to help Jeremy heal himself. We reversed the damage Vashok did to us. We reversed the damage Vashok did to me with her poisons. And then we saw that if we could alter our physical selves, why should we stop with injured organs and broken bones? Ever since we started on the super serum, our subconscious minds have been rationalizing our strength and speed by making our bodies larger and stronger. We had to keep consuming calories to sustain the process, and the process was killing us. The human form isn't designed for that kind of abuse. So we fixed that. We aren't addicted to the super serum now. It's as if we've never taken it. You have no hold on us, Madam President. You're saying you're all just human again? Your people can test us. They won't find anything strange. Mac knew the serum was a dead end, I think. Maybe that's part of why he killed himself. So much for Project Hero. What's the word for when a plot just calls for some bullshit so that a certain outcome can be reached? I don't know how they pulled the ability to rid themselves of their dependency and save Jeremy out of their ass, but it's stupid. Apparently, they just stopped eating all those calories, which, let me tell you, that was not something that was spoken on earlier in the series. We were not told that they needed to eat a large sum of calories to keep the effects going. Hell, Kate and Jeremy were on the run for a while. I doubt they could have gotten the necessary amounts of calories to keep the effects going, and yet they were fine. It's really just convenient plot bullshit. Now we're on the last pages of the series, and it ends somewhat reasonably. Obviously, President Lee is in a bit of a jam. What happened at the address probably raised a ton of questions, and citizens are probably feeling really uneasy right now. No one trusts the president, especially since they think that Captain Confederacy is dead. So what if Roxy, Jeremy, and Kate worked with her to rebuild her image under their conditions? Really, the only one that Kate mentions is that she wants full rights for Black people, Mexicans, and Indians, but I'm assuming by Indians they mean Native Americans, so, rip Asians, just don't show up in the Confederacy, I guess. And of course, the president has to rip out one last N-word before she gives up the word for good, but she does take the deal because she needs the people on her side. Now, Kitsune Lee makes a point that I think is really great. She says that battles are fought in the open, but wars and in closed rooms. That's true, and that's why this isn't a bad way to conclude the series, but it just feels rushed. But how do Roxy, Kate, and Jeremy plan on helping out the president? Well, on the last page of the series, we are introduced to the new Captain Confederacy and her sidekick, the Dixie Kid. Now, I'm pretty sure that's Kate as Captain Confederacy, and then, of course, Jeremy is the Dixie Kid. Don't know what happened to Roxy, but whatever. This was written in the 80s, y'all, but this seems pretty woke. I'm just saying. But that is the end of the series. We go from one piece of propaganda to the other, except now more people have rights. It's kind of like how people like to describe how our government treats us sometimes. Like, they'll give us something really small, but then they'll take away our rights under the table, right? This kind of feels that way. Like, they're giving rights to minorities, but then they just reestablish the propaganda that controlled people's minds before. I don't think that's what heroes would do in this situation. I think heroes would just abolish the whole propaganda thing. But I guess since people were so drawn in by Captain Confederacy, they have to figure out some way to get people back to thinking normally. But either way, I'm sure you've put together how I feel about the ending to this series by now. I feel pretty underwhelmed, don't you? I don't even want to talk about the bullshit that was. We figured out how to reverse the effect. I think the ending was really, really rushed. And you know, that may have been because Steel Dragon Press Comics was running out of money and they were trying to get this issue out before they went bankrupt. But I mean, they actually did have an idea for another series that would be a direct continuation of this. It was going to be called The Confederates, and I'm assuming it was going to follow the adventures of this new Captain Confederacy and the Dixie Kid. But that series never came out. I'm assuming they went under, and this is all we have to show for Steel Dragon Press Comics. This series was a lot of build up and build up and build up and sitting around and build up. And when action and meaningful moments actually came, they were short and rushed. Plus, there was tons of filler that could have gone towards more of the meaningful moments. Like, we did not need a whole issue covering some random assassin that was just here to kill the doctors. I don't care about his backstory. He's not important to the plot. We know more about that assassin than we know about Kitsune Lee or Mr. X, and those two were supposed main characters. On top of that, we were never fully explained why the Confederacy is bad. Like, obviously, segregation can't be too fun, and non-whites clearly don't have full rights, but the effects of that are barely shown. It's like they just solely relied on the belief that Confederacy equals bad, which, I mean, yeah, but like really lean into it. And of course, our rebels' wants weren't explicitly stated until the end of the series, which even then still felt a little empty. Like the only demands are full rights for all people? What does that even mean in the context of the country? There's just a lot left on the table that could have been done better in this series, but this series is such a creative premise that I can't hate it. I gotta give it a 7 out of 10. It's strongly carried by its premise and the existence of Kitsune Lee, who I still need a comic book series from. But yeah, the story is just not that good, unfortunately. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. Let me know what you think of the full Captain Confederacy series. It was a fun ride, and although I don't like the ending, I did enjoy the experience, and I do plan on looking for more abstract comics like this, because I think things like this are gold. It's different from our typical universe and our typical heroes, so it allows for new opportunities, new avenues to explore, just so many other possibilities that we won't get with our typical characters in Marvel or DC. But yeah, we've still got one more video in this series to go. It's Marvel's version of this character. It's only got 4 issues, but I still want to read over it because I want to see what Marvel saw in this character that made them want to greenlight a story in their multiverse. But yeah, make sure to sub so you're one of the first to see that video when it drops. If you are interested in a much more unhinged version of me, check out my gaming channel, Ace Vadi Games. Sub to this channel to be one of the first to see Marvel's version of Captain Confederacy. I've also made it a goal to get to 1,000 subs by the end of 2026. So stick around. Check out my Countdown to Doomsday series if you haven't yet. I'm covering every project in the MCU as a bit of preparation for Avengers Doomsday. And yeah, like the video if you like what you see here. And as always, thank you for watching.